The single biggest threat to growth in Tech Data's environment is our ability to adjust to the rapid pace of change in technology. A few short years ago, Tech Data sold 80% of its business focused around products that sat on the top of a desktop. That was Tech Data a dozen years ago. Today, that represents 40% of Tech Data's revenues and profits. Now Tech Data is focused on the data center, on mobility, on consumer electronics, on advanced software products, and on supply chain services that are radically different than the things that were bolted to the desktop a few years ago. Our ability to adjust to the transitions that have taken place in IT, away from the desktop to mobile products, away from proprietary architectures in the data center to industry standard open architectures, as a few examples, really are the keys to the success of Tech Data in the long term. We've invested $200 million in the infrastructure of our IT system, the IT system inside Tech Data that makes our company go. So by investing smartly internally to build Tech Data, we've been able to make sure that we're flexible and adaptive, which allows us to take advantage of these sea changes that take place in the tech spending world, and therefore the threat becomes a real opportunity for us, and one that we leverage every single day. The impact that these new technologies have are that they create disruptions in the marketplace. The market has tremendous momentum buying and implementing a certain architecture or a certain set of products. Along comes a disruptive disruptive development, and the market will make a sudden and abrupt change and begin to implement that product. Companies like Tech Data make that disruption less painful for businesses and individuals. We train the market on how to use the new technology. We certify and build skills of the people that make the new technology work. And then we make the new technology massively available to the world. And so, while some companies avoid disruptions, Tech Data recruits disruptions. We like the idea of technology changes because we can smooth the disruption and make money for our shareholders by that process. You know, if you think about it, Tech Data has no IP. We hold no patents. We invent nothing. We use and rely on the inventions of our vendor partners, and then we apply our people to smooth those disruptions in the market that the technologies create. And so as long as the vendors are inventing and we have the people that smooth the disruptions, the future for Tech Data is very, very bright. The next big thing in IT never ends. I think there's a few fundamentals of the next great things. One will be, it'll be mobile. The time of technology in the office, behind your desk is over. Technology will be in your car, it'll be wherever you are, it'll be in a world of the Internet of everything connected together, clearly is where the future is. And so mobility would be trend number one. It's here today, but we're just seeing the beginning of mobility. Second will be the advent of what's commonly referred to as big data. Data that's unstructured, that's analyzed in a very free-form format to find business and market opportunities. Today, 75% of the world's data is created on mobile devices. It's in the form of text messages, pictures, sound, and the world's IT systems are not designed to deal with data in those formats. And so a whole change has to happen inside the data center of the future to be able to deal with this unstructured data. You'll hear it referred to as big data. It's not any more complex than how do you find value in pictures and voicemails and text messages. There's tremendous amount of market data in there, and that will all be unraveled. One that I think is the most intriguing one from my perspective is what I would call ease of use. It doesn't sound really sexy or exotic, but the reason why technology has grown so rapidly over the last few years is that it's so easy to use. My 2-year-old granddaughter knows how to turn on a tablet, type in a password, find an app, play with the app, discard the app, turn off the tablet when she's done. Okay, she will never go back to the days of green screens and online systems that we all grew up in. In fact, when we first went to work, the only time we touched technology was when we were at work. When we went home, we had crank down windows and rotary telephones, and I'm dating myself here a bit, but you get the point. Today, the technology that's at home is better, faster, easier to use than the technology that's at work. And the workforces of the future won't accept archaic systems like exist in most businesses. They'll demand easy-to-use technology that makes their jobs and their lives better. We're just scratching the surface on the app called ease of use. And I think every vendor is going to make tremendous amounts of investments in the future to make everything that they create easier to use. The easier it is to use, the easier it is to sell and deploy and get value back. And the last big trend that will tie all that together is the cloud. And the cloud makes computing available to more people, to more businesses, to more enterprises, to more small businesses, to more governments, and easy available computing is the future that I see. And Tech Data is in position very well right in the middle of all that. You know, the massive megatrends that are happening, and will continue to happen, all from our point of view boil down to one key component, and that is the availability of talented people. Because we have no IP, because we invent nothing, because we have no patents as a company, we are just a company of people and process. And so our ability to invent world-class bulletproof processes has been honed over 40 years. But those processes are nothing if they're not executed by really talented, skilled people. And so as I look at my 35 years in the tech industry, the availability of the right skills of people always is the number one factor and critical success factor for a business or for an enterprise. And it seems as though the battle for superior talent is getting more heated every single day. Even though you see unemployment rates hovering around levels that are unacceptable in every country, the really talented people have no problem finding great jobs. And Tech Data offers 10,000 great jobs to really talented people with a workforce of 10,000 around the world. It's a never-ending process to find the right people for a company like Tech Data. I'll give you an example. Just this past quarter, we announced in conjunction with one of the universities here in Tampa Bay that we're offering an MBA program at night inside of our building. So our people after work can close up their work area, go downstairs to a classroom, and begin to go into an MBA class. And over the course of, I think, around 2 years of night study, our people have the ability to get an MBA and get a different advanced skill or a more advanced skill in the discipline that they're already highly trained in and highly skilled in. We've changed our recruiting techniques. We use all of the tools in the online social sites that you would think, and we network like crazy. I think the biggest challenge to attracting that kind of talent is to have a company that people want to work for, a company that has a core value structure that they can appreciate, that has a culture that appreciates them, compensation systems and benefits, all of the things that an employee looks for. But in the end of the day, what the employee really wants is a rewarding opportunity to contribute to a business that's moving, that's going places. And so we try very hard to paint a picture of not only where Tech Data is today for our employees, but where we want to take it and how they can help us take the business there. So it's a combination of all those factors that really determine our ability to attract and retain the right people. We can tell if we're having a good morning on sales or not, or a good afternoon. We can see the ebb and the flow of the business around the world. We sell $100 million of technology a day. Our average order size is under $2,000. And so the order flow that happens inside the business, about half of that comes to us electronically over the web, and about half of that is done through our sales force, flows into the business on a real-time basis. And so we know if our prices are non-competitive, we know if we're missing a performance in a market, we know if we have if there's a snowstorm in the Northeast, we'll see that in our sales performance. And so we're able to adjust around the world to make sure that we're able to give our shareholders a good return every day. There is no lack of metrics in Tech Data, I promise you. So I'll give you a great example of big data in action. Tech Data collects every sales transaction that we do every day, and we store that. So we know what SKUs we sold to what customers, and we have literally billions of dollars of sales transactions stored up in a server and storage system. If a vendor comes to us and says, I have this brand new technology and I'd like to sell it in Nebraska, we're able to say, here are the places where other resellers have sold products that would be complementary to that would have the right skills, and we're able to go attract and recruit that reseller to sell an unknown product. We don't actually know the end user, so we protect the end user. We only know the environment, and so we're able to say, yeah, in that city block they bought a lot of medical technologies. Well, it turns out that there's a hospital in that city block. We don't know exactly who bought it, but we know it went there. So we're careful to protect that, but cyber security is one of those future or current and I think really future trends to watch very carefully in tech. The more flexible and adaptive and easy technology gets to use, the more fraud it is for error and security issues. Creating the data was easy. Now what happens with all those pictures? Where do they go? Where do they get stored? How do they get protected? And that's a whole industry opportunity. And by the way, Tech Data plays very aggressively in that space. And every CIO in the world lays awake at night worrying about cyber attacks today that they didn't even think about a few years ago. It's a massive opportunity and a massive threat, and one that there's billions of dollars being spent every day on R&D to try to protect.